Hi, I'm Mark, and this is Foothill Paint Fabrication. Today we're going to be polishing color sanding and polishing the tailgate off that 1950 Chevy truck. Now, it's not going to be just a normal color sand and polish because somebody put some little runs in here off the letters. So we're going to be going over some tips and tricks on how I get those runs out by sanding without going through, and then we'll get the whole thing polished. So let's get down here and start fixing my mistakes. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see, got coming off the corners right here, got some little ones right there, little one just barely, that's a bad one right there, get the angle just right, got one coming off the L, one coming off the E, and the T is the worst. It came off and it made it all the way down here, so I really screwed up on that. So we're going to see if we can't sand these out and then get this thing polished up. Okay, the plan for today is to use some of this icy light gold glazing putty. This is catalyzed glazing putty. And what we're going to do is we're not going to pre-sand or anything. I'm going to mask off the ridges on these letters so I don't have to worry about trying to sand this material off of the letters, which don't have any runs on them. And then what we're going to do is mix some of this up, and we're going to lay it right over the top of all the runs, really thin. And then what that's going to do is act as a protectant on each side of the drip. So let's say this is the drip right here, and while you're sanding, you're hitting on both sides of the clear that you don't want to sand. You just want to sand that ridge down flush. So we'll lay that across there, and then as we sand, as soon as we sand through all of that glazing and get down, then we know we've got that and we didn't dig in on each side, which will happen. Even with a hard block, you're still rocking a little bit, you're not a robot. So it's going to give us a little guide, kind of almost like a guide coat to let us know when we've got all the way through, and it's going to protect the clear on both sides. So I'm going to mask these letters off with some just plain old masking tape, and then we'll mix some of this up and get it put down on here. Okay, I got everything masked, and I took a Sharpie and I just kind of marked where each drip was, just in case I'm mixing the glazing putty pretty hot so it'll set up quick so we can get to sanding. So I don't want to get in a rush and miss one. So I masked the other side here so I can just lay it in right here and not have to worry about dripping down here in the groove and have to sand that out. And then down here, it made it past this ledge. So I got a little one to do here, and I'll peel that tape up, and then I can do the field right here. So I'm just going to mix them up real quick, and then we'll blob that on there. Okay, we're sanding most of this off, so it doesn't have to be perfect or anything. I'm just using the 1-inch knife, and I'm going to start up here on the tape. I'm just going to kind of go over it. Now it's about 60 degrees in the shop, so this stuff's a little thick, but you just want to lay it on there kind of like that. And this basically is all going to get sanded because I have so many in a row here. And you pay for your own mistakes, right? I screwed up. I got to fix it. That Sharpie really helps because I'm having to look through the lights and everything to try to see them, make sure I get all of them in one shot. You can actually see right there where the ridge is. And we're going to get this one, then I'll peel that tape and get the other one. And we're looking pretty good here. So that's about it. I'm going to probably carry this out into the sun, and that'll help set that off. I'm going to peel the tape off and get that out of the way, and then park this out in the sun a little bit. The heat will cause this stuff to sit off pretty quick, and then we'll be ready to start sanding. Okay, let's focus on this one right here, and then we'll move over to this one. That way I can show you up close what I'm doing. Now, by not pre-sanding this area, this stuff does not want to stick very well, so it may peel off or whatever. You just have to kind of go with it. You could pre-sand a little bit, but then if this gets down into the grooves from sanding, then you have to sand that out. So, you know, either way, if you sanded it a little bit with 1500 and then put the glazing on, that's fine too. So we're going to try it without and see how it goes. This clear is pretty slick, so, and I'm going to hit it really light with some 400 right off the top, just to kind of knock the high spots off here and get started. And I'll be really careful with it. And then we'll switch over to some 600 and then some 1500. If you look right here, you can see the run. So I need to start by sanding the glazing down a little bit. And I'm kind of sanding at an angle like this so I don't sand the edge off that. Now the tape held the glaze back from there, but it's still pretty close, so I got to be careful. This would be a lot easier on a flat panel, but rarely do you get runs in an easy spot, do you? So we can see already there's the drip right there, and we're coming into almost getting rid of it. The glazing's getting really thin. I'm going to concentrate a little bit farther up here. Okay, we're getting so thin it's starting to peel off. This glaze is pretty brittle, so that's what makes it sand so easy, but it also is brittle, so it'll chip off. Yeah, that feels pretty good right there. Switch over to 600. And we're getting about almost all the way through. And we're just about perfectly flat here, so I'm going to go ahead and keep sanding with the 600 a little bit. See if we can pick that off there. There we go. Just knocked it off. Little piece here. Then we're going to switch over to 1500 and just sand that spot right there. Grab a towel, we'll dry it off and see how we did. Okay, so it came out really nice. That's going to polish out real nice. Now there's waves in this anyways from the stamping and you know, just being old. So I'm not going to try to make this perfect because I know it goes up and down along here. But we're just trying to get each individual little run out. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and do all of them on camera. It's just very tedious. No reason to bore you with all that. But this one came out good. We're going to do that one. Then we'll do the T, and then get all these done. And then hopefully we'll do it without sanding through, and then we can polish it. Okay, we got it all sanded all the way down. I think I've got it all. We'll tell as soon as we put we start cutting the polish in here, if I've got the drip out or not. So it all feels good. I was able to use the glazing, the catalyzed glazing putty to get me close. And then once it got too thin and I just picked it away from here and it sanded away. Then I used the flat hard block again, and then I didn't have to worry about rocking back and forth and digging in on each side because it was more flat, just trying to get that last little bit out of there. So let's throw some polish on this and see if we see how we did. Okay, that looks pretty nice right there. If I do say so myself, I got it out of there. Looks good. Little something by the edge right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to polish the whole thing. And of course I want to be super careful on this raised area here. So I'm going to polish the whole thing, and if there's any other areas I need to go back and sand, I'll go ahead and do those and then kind of polish those areas. So let's polish this part right here that's in the view of the camera, and then see how it comes out. And then we'll move on down. Okay, let's wipe it with a towel. See how she came out. I got a few little sand scratches right up against this corner here. I'm going to get the polisher in there. I'm pretty sure I can get those out. And then the rest of it looks good. I got a few right here. I didn't run the pad at this angle. I only ran it here. So I need to get on the other side and run it down this line right here. And that looks good. These flats right here look really good too. So we're just going to work our way down. I'm going to hit these spots, and this is teaching me as I go to make sure that I hit this wheel both directions to make sure I get down in there, because this lip right here is holding that pad off from getting down inside there. So I'll run both sides, and then we'll go down the edge here and get where I sanded around all those. Other than that, it looks good. Really happy the way it's coming out. So I'll just spread right here. I'll leave those dollops over there alone, and we'll spread this right here and just concentrate on this little spot. I'll kind of bounce it as I go. Helps me feel where the pad is going. And then I'll just run parallel to those lines to make sure the wheel gets in there real nice. Lift up on the polisher a little bit, let it speed up on its own, and then kick it a little more speed. That looks like it's gotten it. So I'm going to go ahead and get these little corners here. I think I'm going to go ahead and buy myself some smaller polishing wheels too, so I can get down in these little areas a lot nicer. I'm up on edge more, makes the wheel smaller. Get this other corner over here. That's about all I can reach with that pad. If I have to do it by hand, I have to do it by hand. But we'll see here. Looks good. Maybe just a little teeny bit right there in that corner, but I can do that by hand. It's no problem. All right, we're just going to move down and do them all. I'm going to back the camera away a little bit, and we'll just time lapse this real quick. Okay, I'm going to work this side first, then I'll either flip the whole tailgate around, or I'll stand on that side. I'll probably turn the whole tailgate around so I don't block the camera. But so we're just putting little small amounts of polish on here because we're only working a little, that's right, like 12-inch square, right? 1 square foot. So we don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. We just want to focus on one little area, and I see a little sand scratch right there, so I'm going to go down there too when I do this. So we'll work on this part right here. All right, let's wipe it down, see how we did. Yeah, it looks really good along here. You can see the slightest hint of them. I'm not going to go any farther. If we were shooting for perfection, I would. But I missed a big spot right here I didn't polish. And some along here I didn't get very well. So we need to go back. And I'm going to polish around these letters really well. And then I have to hit this area right here. For some reason I wasn't systematic about it. And that's about it. Okay, we're going to move on to number 2. I've already kind of dampened the blue pad here and got it ready. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of systematically go over this. There's not much to see. Like I said earlier, when you're doing the cutting or the number 1 step, you're doing most of the work there. This will go over it, should go really smooth and quick. So let's just get after it. Now, if you choose to use these wheels, this little Velcro piece right here, if you run it into something, it's going to leave a mark. Now, the foam it goes off at an angle a little bit, so you have to be very careful. I bounced it off here right here. It didn't hurt it, but just reminded me, don't get too close with this when you're going up against a 90-degree surface. So you want to make sure you're very careful with that. That's what's great about that red one that rolls all the way around. It's all foam the whole way, so it protects the edge. These can get you in trouble if you're not careful. Okay, let's wipe that down and see how it looks. Feels really good, looks really shiny. Once we get out in the sun, we'll be able to tell for sure. I'm going to flip it around, we'll do the top side, and we are done. Okay, let's wipe it down, see how we did. Okay, let's take a look at it here. Looks pretty good. I think I might see one little spot over here in the corner. Maybe it's just polish I didn't wipe out good, very good. Other than that, I think it looks pretty good. I think we're done. Got all my mistakes out. Don't know if I can show you in the light. Right near the letters there's a little ripple, but you know, some of that was on me and some of that's in the stamping, so probably most of it on me, I would guess. But I'm not going to try to make it perfect. We're stopping right here. Okay, that just about wraps up this video on polishing this tailgate and you know, taking the runs out I put in it. It came out really well. I think the owner's going to be thrilled. I like the way it looks, so I'm happy. He should be happy, right? It was a little tedious. We used the glazing putty to help flatten that out without digging through the clear, and it worked out really well, and I'm really happy with the way it came out. So thanks for joining me here at Foothill Paint Fabrication. If you haven't subscribed already, I'd really appreciate it if you consider subscribing, and if you like what you saw, hit that thumbs up so it helps promote the channel. We'll see you on the next one.